You have seen in the last few days protests in Sri Lanka that led to the collapse of its government. What are the reasons for those unrest? Since 1965 up to now, the IMF has been lending Sri Lanka billions of dollars that the country cannot repay. IMF loans come up with imposed reforms economically and politically. It is a manner for the collective West to interfere in a country's sovereignty politically by imposing what they call democratic reforms and imposing countless of NGOs into the country that will ultimately work for globalist agenda and also to impose economic reforms, what they call liberalize the economy. What is liberalization, by the way? It is a way to strip away state assets, to take away state control for the benefit of international elites and corporations. It is a process of privatization. Those are the reasons many countries in the global south have become no more self-sufficient, as the globalist policies aim at taking away countries' sovereignty, and those policies are going against the people's welfare. The country taking IMF loans is put into a position of dependence to the will of lenders. Upon advice from the IMF and other international banksters, or should I say bankers, gangsters, Sri Lanka has remained a colonial-era economy, relying on monoculture, non-diversified and non-industrialized economy. The globalist projects wants countries to be relying on the G7 economies, to rely on the dollar, to be non-diversified, to be non-industrialized, to obey to the G7 geopolitical agenda. Sri Lanka should be learning from the example of Russia. What Russia did in the last decade was to prepare its economy to be self-sufficient. Russia has kicked out foreign interference coming in the forms of Western NGOs. Russia started accumulating foreign reserves and gold, paid back most of its debt and started tilting its focus away from Europe and US and found more reliable partners within BRICS and Asia. Seeing what is happening to Sri Lanka, the global south should start leaving the globalist debt structure and finally end this new form of colonialism in the form of imposing values and economic mafia-style racketeering.